Have you ever opened up your bank account, looked at the number and thought, where on earth has all the money I've earned gone? Well, if you have, you're not alone. A couple of years ago, I realized I was spending hundreds, if not thousands of pounds on things that I just ended up throwing away. I had clothes with tags on that I didn't wear anymore. I had makeup products which I had bought in bulk that I ended up throwing away because I hadn't used them in a long time. And in that moment, I realized that I was wasting my hard-earned money on things that just weren't beneficial. So I actually made a list of 9 things that I would no longer spend my money on. And in today's video, I want to share what those 9 items are in order to help you save money, reduce stress, and help you achieve your financial goals. And if you haven't met me before, I'm Dr. Yosa, a medical doctor who creates content on helping individuals use their 9-to-5 salary to create their dream life through investing. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can see my latest upload. Number 1, trendy items. And these are the products which go viral on TikTok and Instagram that everyone is rushing to buy. And if you haven't got them, you kind of feel FOMO for not owning them also. But the thing is, they fade. The resale value basically drops because a lot of people have it. The quality, if we're honest, is usually not the best. And within a few months, the actual excitement of owning that item goes away. And then you realize that you have another item which you've now got in your clutter. According to the UK's Office of National Statistics, the average household actually spends £490 on unused goods. And that £490, that could have been invested, it could have been saved, it could have been put towards something that would have been a lot more beneficial to you. So rather than chasing trends, here are 3 things that I have found really helpful. The first thing is doing my research. I will research and try and find an alternative that is high quality, that I know will last me longer than that trendy item will. Second thing that I've implemented is a 30-day rule. If I see something and I think I want it, rather than purchasing it straight away, I will wait for 30 days and see how I feel at the end of the 30 days. And one of the things that I found is if it's an impulse buy, which 9 out of 10 times it is, I tend not to want it after a month of waiting and seeing. And the last one might be a little bit controversial, but not being afraid to seek expert advice, especially when it comes to skincare. We are marketed skincare products all the time, and it's so easy to buy something because someone on TikTok reviewed it and said it worked well for their skin. But I found that I was buying so many different products that weren't working for my skin. And so by actually going to an expert and getting tailored advice for my skin, it meant that I was buying a lot less products and I was actually solving the issue at hand in a way that was beneficial to my own skin and not someone else's skin. This leads nicely to the second biggest money drain, and that is bulk purchases. I used to think bulk purchases were super smart, a cheeky 3 for 2, taking advantage of a mega offer. But here's the thing, when you buy more than you need, you forget that things expire, you end up needing more storage space, and sometimes you might end up using more than you need because in your head you've got lots of it. And this concept doesn't just apply to food, it applies to makeup, it even applies to clothing. The stat shows that Brits throw away £140 million worth of clothes every single year, and the majority of those clothes are actually unused. So rather than making bulk purchases in general, I've actually learned to be a bit more strategic. So I tend to only do bulk purchases on things that I consider essentials, like toilet paper, cleaning supplies. And when it comes to food, as tempting as it can be, I tend not to go for all first. If anything, I will do a small shop, but I will do it more frequently, and I found that my food is fresh and actually there's a lot less wastage. And the last thing is when it comes to bulk buying makeup products or just products in general, if I do a bulk buy, I am not afraid to give it away to friends and family who I think will benefit from it also. 3, branded items. I'll be so honest, and I think some of the fashionistas might come for me for this. However, just because an item has a logo doesn't mean it's good quality, it doesn't mean that it's going to have the nicest fit, and it doesn't mean it's going to last. And if we're honest, sometimes we buy branded items for how people perceive us as opposed to us actually wanting those items. I call it status shopping, and that in itself is a trap because you end up spending crazy amounts of money trying to look a certain way that may not be your reality. So I came up with my own alternatives to this. The first thing is, if I'm purchasing something, I'm super intentional. I will look at the quality of that item. What percentage of it is cotton, silk, And I have a wear rule. If I'm purchasing something that's really expensive, I will ensure that it's something that I can wear on multiple occasions in different settings. If it's a pricey item that I can only wear once and I can't justify it at that present moment in time, I'm just not buying it. And I've been intentional over the years to build a capsule wardrobe. One thing I love about a capsule wardrobe is it's timeless. You can create different outfits without having to constantly buy new items to add to your wardrobe. Number 4, hypothetical event clothes. You know when you're shopping and you see a beautiful dress or like a nice suit and you think, oh my goodness, this would be great to wear to a wedding or to a birthday party or to a work event, buy it. But then that work event, wedding just doesn't come around, it just doesn't happen. And then when it finally does, years down the line, you end up not wearing the clothes anymore because it might not be your style, it may not fit properly, you may have something else that you want to wear on the day. If I don't have an event that I know I'm going to, I'm not buying an outfit for that event. And truthfully, it means I have a lot less clutter. I've also noticed recently that there has been a trend in sustainability. So you can actually rent clothes for events, birthdays, weddings, and there's different renting platforms which you can use for your clothes. 5, high maintenance products. I will be so honest, I used to spend hundreds of pounds every single month on hair treatments, facials, hair installations, and don't get me wrong, in the moment they felt amazing, but the ongoing cost, especially maintaining those things, were draining. So I decided to reevaluate how I could be a bit more cost efficient, and I found that actually doing some things yourself isn't a bad shout, and it doesn't have to be as tasking as people make out to be. You can do your hair whilst catching up with friends. You also don't have to do a facial or all of these fancy treatments every single month. You can space it out. Rather than doing it every month, you could do it every 2 months, or you could do it every quarter. And regardless whatever change you make, you can redirect the cost savings towards something that actually brings you a lot more lasting joy, like a holiday or spending time with friends, or better still, putting it towards investing. 6, makeup wipes. I know this one sounds crazy, but I can't lie to you. I used to be a makeup wipes girly. I'm no longer a makeup wipes girly. I found that I was running through makeup wipes, and post-pandemic, I also noticed that the number of wipes you got in the packet were getting less and less, but the prices of good makeup wipes anyway were becoming more and more expensive, so I stopped. And I actually researched different alternatives. The first one I found was oil cleansers, and of course you cleanse on top of that just to make sure that you haven't missed anything. The second alternative was reusable microfiber pads, and they last for ages. Once you've used them for a bit, you can wash them and continuously use them without having to replace them. And then the last is cleansing balm, and that is a tub which lasts for a long time. Of the 3 options, I personally found that my skin preferred the cleansing oil and then using my normal cleanser, so that's what I use now. So I actually haven't used makeup wipe in years. I actually can't remember the last time I used a makeup wipe. Number 7, phone contracts. Back when I was in secondary school, a phone contract was like £20 a month, and even then that was so expensive. Now phone contracts are like £70 to £80 a month, and it's just insane. They act like the phone they're giving you is free, but actually the contract, especially those of longer duration, will account for the price of the phone as well as other hidden charges that they don't talk about. In fact, the average UK mobile phone user will overspend by £173 a year on their mobile phone contracts, and considering that most people will have a contract for at least 2 years, that is a lot of money which could have gone towards something else. So rather than opting for a phone contract, so the first is to have a SIM only plan, and these tend to be £10 to £20 a month, and that's a lot cheaper than £70 to £80 a month if you ask me. The second is not being afraid to keep the current phone that you have. The third is not being afraid to either purchase a refurbished phone as long as you've done your research and it works. Otherwise, that could potentially be a nightmare. Or if you have the means to, purchasing the phone outright, that tends to work out cheaper also in the long run. And then the last one is making sure that you don't stay on the contract that you are on after it's ended, because chances are you probably will be paying a lot more for what it's worth at that specific moment in time. Number 8, which is the latest phone. I will say this, I used to be super guilty of wanting to upgrade my phone as soon as my contract ended. I remember back in the day, I would literally write down when my contract was going to end, and then I would start shopping shopping around for the latest phone, I would literally sit there and compare the different changes in the models, and then I would pick the latest phone and get a new contract. However, if we're so honest, when you look at the fine print, they only ever make teeny tiny improvements every single year. And that teeny tiny improvement, i.e. a better camera quality, doesn't justify spending another £1,000 plus on a new phone. As long as my phone is working okay, I don't need to have the latest phone. Full stop. So you're probably thinking, well, what can I do? There are a couple of things you can do. The first thing you can do is you can buy a new battery for your phone. Most people complain that after a while their battery mitigates against that issue. The second thing you can do, which most people tend to do anyway, is get a screen protector and a case for your phone. That helps it last longer and it protects it against damages. The third thing you can do is skip an upgrade. I'm not saying skip an upgrade forever, but rather than upgrading your phone every year, you can decide to upgrade it every 3 years or every 4 years. But at least you've got your money's worth from the phone, especially if it's working okay and it's still functional. And the last thing you can do is either trade in your phone, or you can sell it, take that money, and then if you can afford to, buy your next phone outright. Because number 9, fast fashion. I will be so honest, fast fashion clothing that I purchased, in my opinion, felt like the quality was just missing. They felt cheap, and a lot of them were made with polyester, so after 5 to 10 wears, they just didn't look right or feel right. And I remember that there were multiple instances where I would put these clothes in the wash. Despite following really closely the wash instructions, the clothes would look completely different post-wash than they did pre-wash, and it just wasn't worth it. And I found that I was replacing a lot of these items more frequently, which was adding to how much I was spending. So I decided to opt out of fast fashion as much as possible and to focus on purchasing quality items from the jump. So yeah, those are the 9 items on the list of things that I no longer buy. Although individually they don't seem like a lot, all of them compounded together have resulted in a lot less clutter and have helped me use my money towards things that are a lot more close to my heart, like funding my holidays and helping me save to be able to jump on the property ladder at the age of 24. Let me know what you think of the items on my list and what you would add or take away from the list. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!